It's time to go mobile.
What's up, guys? Jeebs here. Shooting this on my cell phone because I didn't exactly expect to film today, but the Supra is in at the dealership who said they would call me. My contact there has been nice and followed up with me. He's done a nice job following up, but they got one in. It was a launch edition in black, which I told you guys I was not interested in. This one is in gray. It's not the base model. I think it's called Premium, is the mid-range model. So that's what we're gonna go see. It's in the gray color, black interior. There's really not any options. It has the driver's assistance option, which is I think lane assist and things like that I wouldn't even really want on it. Now, he called me earlier today and was like, hey, Supra's in, you want to come see it? I'm like, yes, but I was 4 hours away. So I'm driving right now to see the dealership. I'm in heavy traffic. He calls me back as I'm on my way. He goes, hey, and the second his tone was like that, I knew exactly what he was going to say. The Supra has sold. So I'm still going to go to the dealership because, like I said, I haven't seen one yet. I need to see it before I'm going to decide if I want to buy it or not. So we're going to go to the dealership. I'm going to check it out, and then I'm going to give you my honest opinion on how it looks in person, because I think that's the biggest question, is what does the car actually look like in person? Because pictures, in some pictures, there's angles that you're like, oh my god, and there's others that are like, ugh, that looks terrible. I think this is probably a beautiful car. It's something you need to see in person, but today we're gonna find out. So I'm bringing you guys along on the cell phone, and I'll keep you posted. I'm gonna now go through the photos that I took of the new Supra. Really cool to see it in person. You think all the hype, all the build up to this car for all these years now, finally get to see it. So let's take a look at some of the pictures that I took. I didn't want to take video. There were a lot of people around the car, a lot of commotion going on in the dealership, so I just didn't want to be taking videos. Plus, it's basically the same thing. So start with this first one, interior shot. From pictures, this wheel looks like it could possibly be too big. And to be honest with you, well, at least I'm not lying to you. I hate when people say, oh, to be honest with you. So what, were you lying before? I'm trying to eliminate that. Sorry. The steering wheel is kind of boring for what this car is. You think of all the things you could do with the steering wheel, and I think a BRZ or GT86 steering wheel is better than this one. I don't know if it has something to do with safety, airbags. I really don't know. And then if you look at the lower part of the steering wheel, there's like just a pad there. I don't think it does anything, but it'd be nice if that was like a click pad or mouse pad or something. I think it's just a blank piece of plastic. So the steering wheel is kind of bland. It's not a BMW steering wheel. It's definitely a Toyota steering wheel. I didn't touch it. It's because the car literally had been sold. As I said, it said do not touch the car, so I had to have a salesman open the car up for me. Which I get. If I bought it, I wouldn't want anyone touching it as well. He opened the car up, so I got to take this interior shot. The carbon fiber on the center console is beautiful. The shifter it's great. It's not as big as it looks in pictures. It's a nice size. Just the carbon fiber works beautiful. The way the dash has that like slit across it over there, you can see JBL sound system in this one. It's a quality interior. It's like a step above what you think Toyota would be capable of. That's where BMW comes in. And as much as you want to say it's a BMW interior, the seats are different. The seats are not the same as any BMW that I've ever seen. Steering wheel's definitely not BMW. Infotainment, yes, but the gauges are not BMW. It's not as, like, everyone's so cracked out on saying it's a BMW, and I get that, like the engine, whatever. But the interior is not nearly as much as I thought. One other thing to point out in the interior, and this was like kind of a cheapish Toyota part, is this plastic that houses the buttons here. It's like a sparkly plastic, something like you'd find in like a Toyota Corolla. I thought it was kind of a weird material for them to use in the Supra at all. It would have been fine if it was just piano black, but it's like got sparkle to it. Kind of a weird touch. Here's a look at the outside of the car. Shows it was sold. Beautiful, beautiful paint. I love the way the paint looks on this car. One other downside of the car that people were constantly talking about was the fake vents. So just under the front light there, lights are beautiful. That is filled in with plastic, but again, you can pop that out, and the aftermarket will be able to use that for more cooling, which is fine. And then there's also, so in the front, the center duct, and then the right and the left ducts, like one of them has a sensor for, I think, distance control for adaptive cruise. And then the other one's basically open. I mean, it's not nearly as, it's just this, there's so much media covering this car, and I think they just focused on a lot of the wrong things, all the negative. The front end of the car looks great. The one thing that I was disappointed with, that I didn't expect to be disappointed with, was the hood. It's nice and long. This car looks much longer than the Z4. I've seen a Z4 in person. Here's a picture of that, the one that I saw in this beautiful blue. The hood kind of bubbles. It's like this. It's not, so I would imagine, and I didn't sit in this one either, I would imagine though if you're sitting in the cockpit, it's like kind of like this. So maybe it's different if you're sitting in it. It just wasn't as appealing as I expected it to be. Moving on, the mirror caps on this one, this being a premium, were matte black. Nice touch. You know, it's different than the chrome, but at the same time, the A-pillars are a chrome black. So then the mirror cap is a flat black. Now that I think about it, though, it matches with the front diffuser, the side, and then the rear diffuser as well. So that, I guess that all flows together now that I think about it. So that was kind of a nice touch. Here's a look at one of the vents again. Fake vent, but in the aftermarket, you'll be able to pop that out. I'm sure they'll make carbon fiber molds of it. There's going to be all kinds, you know, it's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, not the biggest deal. I don't really care that it's fake. You can make it functional, and Toyota was clear about that. Now let's take a look at the wheels. I would say ignore the wheel gap here. I think this one was still up on, I can't remember what they're called. I think up on blocks. I think it sits lower than that. Beautiful tire. Nice wheel. I don't know what I think about these wheels yet with the chrome-ish. It's not like a full-on chrome. It's like a half chrome. Not totally sure what I think yet, and the brakes are kind of boring. I wish it would say Brembo or Supra or TRD or something like that. I think that would be a nice little detail that an enthusiast or someone who's going to purchase this car would appreciate. But again, that's room for improvement in the future. Overall, I think it's a decent-looking wheel, and it also has enough width and concavity so it gives the car an offset. I mean, it's a really nice, it's an aggressive looking car. Not as aggressive as an M2, but it's pretty good. Now around to the back here. The spoiler's huge. I mean, that sits up probably 6 inches right off the bottom edge of the trunk where the hatch is disconnected. That's 6-7 inches. It's really big. Exhaust pipes are nice. I think they're nice. They're somewhat underwhelming. I know the aftermarket is going to have huge tips for this. So there's room to grow there, but I think from the factory it's acceptable. Rear diffuser looks beautiful, I think. The rear tires are very wide. The car sits so low. It's really surprising it has a lower center of gravity than the GT86 or BRZ. That's crazy to me. But it sits so low. I mean, when you get in it, it's going to feel special. It's going to really feel like a sports car. Plus having the quick shifting transmission. I don't think it's a huge problem that this car is only an automatic. There's already a company that's developing a manual transmission for it. Again, great aftermarket support already. The reverse light is kind of cool, like F1 has the white light and it's actually functional. I love the Toyota badge. Just seeing Supra again. I mean, look at that. It's back. Like, that's so cool to me. And here's a close-up look again at the exhaust pipe. If you take a look at this picture, it actually looks like the valve is closed. So I'm not sure if the other, I don't know if it opens up when the car turns on or if the other one is where the exhaust goes when the valve is closed. I'm not totally sure. That's what it looks like. So overall, my thoughts on the new Supra, I think it's a nice luxury performance car. Do I think it's as nice as getting an M3? No, it's not quite on the M3 level. It's probably much closer to the M2 competition. And the M2 competition is still has a step up on luxury. But it also costs more. And for Toyota to offer this car at under $50,000, I think is a great accomplishment by them. It has amazing performance. It has the right amount of luxury. It has the heritage of the Supra. It's a hatch. It has so many different things. I just think it's a really great package. I think it's a perfect price as long as you're not paying over MSRP, which we'll talk about that in a minute. So now my question is to myself is, do I get the Supra or do I get the M2? Because that's the two I'm in between right now. Part of me, to be straightforward with you, I like the M2 more. I think it's a more aggressive car. I think it's more of a purist sports car. You can get it in a manual transmission, which I prefer. But I'm not totally against an automatic transmission. After driving the Golf R that I rented, that totally changed my mind. The transmission is so tight. I drove Dana's NSX. That transmission's amazing, but you'd expect that in a supercar. So I have to make that decision. You know, I like the M2 more, but the Supra is all the hype right now. That's going to help grow the YouTube channel. That's going to help grow revenue on the YouTube channel. So from a business standpoint, it would be better for me to get the Supra, and I have to make that decision. Now let's talk about the price. That one sold for $12,000 over MSRP. And I was laughing with the sales guy who I've been working with, and I was like, wow, what an idiot. And he said, well, that's where the market's going. And I understand that because the GM at this dealership, the guy I know who owns the dealership in Pennsylvania, he's like made a point to me. He said basically that Toyota is strongly urging dealerships to not mark it up. He was like, they're clear about that. So he owns these dealerships. If anyone knows what they're talking about, it's him. So he's getting this information from the top. So it's interesting to hear that. And then out here in Phoenix, this guy doesn't care. The GM at this dealership does not care. And even my salesman was like, he's like, I know you mentioned you want to get it at MSRP. And I'm like, of course. Because I know what's going to happen with this car. The hype's going to die down in 6-7 months, maybe less. And then all of a sudden you're getting it at MSRP. And then in a year and a half, 2 years, they're refreshing it and there's incentives to get them off the lot. So I'm not going to take that hit, and I just refuse to do that. Now, I look at guys like the Stradman. The Stradman's probably paid for his Supra twice by now. With the views he's getting and the audience retention, what he's making per video, 1 million views a video, is probably insane. Probably blow your mind. So for him, it makes sense. For me being a smaller channel, maybe that's the risk I need to take. I'm just so against that. I've made so many videos about why you shouldn't be paying over MSRP for a car. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. That's where we're at. The other interesting thing that the salesman told me, I don't know that I totally actually disagree with what he was saying. I was like, yeah, I want to pay MSRP no more. And he was saying, yeah, well, the reason they priced this like they did was to see how the market reacted, and then they're going to move the cost up in 2020. And that's very normal for car manufacturers to bump the cost up of their cars. Usually it goes up 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 or whatever. But with that, there's stuff that's added. So it makes sense. And he was like trying to justify why I should pay $10,000 over MSRP, which is, the car's not going to jump 10K in value. That's never, ever happened. So that's the full story. I'm not sure what I think about the looks. I'm happy I got to see it in person. I think I'd really enjoy driving it. But the M2 just has more aggression to it. It has more of a distinct purpose. It's like the M2 knows its role, and the Supra was kind of unsure. Yes, you can take it to the track. Yes, it's low center of gravity. It's got all the performance in the world. Might even be quicker than an M2 in a straight line. I bet it's close. I bet they might be the same. If not, the Supra might be a little quicker. I don't know. The Supra is way more efficient. Stradman said he was getting 34 miles per gallon highway average, which is crazy. There's a lot of good around that car. I'm happy it's around. I still might get it. I want to get one in yellow. I'm going to talk to my guy. He will give it to me for dealer invoice, which is why I'm probably not going to buy one out here, because it's just different in Phoenix. The market's huge. And really, if you have a connection, that's you ultimately have a leg up no matter where you go. So I don't have any real relationships with any dealerships out here. So back at home, I do, and I think that's probably the route I'll go if I end up buying a Supra. So I'm going to talk to him, see what the deal is. He has a launch edition that's red right now, but I don't think he wants to part ways with it. I think he wants to keep that, and he said he'll get me whatever I want at invoice. So that's where we stand. Just took the ST. I did like 1,000 miles this week in the ST, so we have I'll have some more updates coming. We're close to the 60,000 mile review, so that's coming. But I wanted to bring that Supra update. It's a hot topic right now, and interested to hear everyone's feedback. Again, I did a poll, and the majority of people said they wanted me to buy the Supra. So there's definitely a market out there. The hype around it on YouTube's great. It would grow my channel. It would grow the revenue. It would be awesome. But I don't know. I kind of want to do what I, like, in my heart, go after what I really love. And I know I would gain more of a following when having the M2 because no one goes into depth with their cars like I do from an owner's perspective. So Stradman, TJ Hunt, whoever else has the Supra, they're going to tune it, do whatever, but they're not going to give you a 1,000 mile update, 5,000 mile update. Wheels, wear, how to work the infotainment system, rattles, warranty issues. Like, I cover everything in depth on the car. Whatever car I own, that's what I'll always do. So it's just a different perspective. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you're still with me in the video, I'd appreciate if you gave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we will see you next time. Andrew and I, when this video is published, are out in the canyons. We're making a fun little video that you guys will enjoy. We're going to spend some time editing and doing different things. So I think you'll really appreciate that video. Stick around for that. Hit the bell notifications if you haven't already. That way you get notified right away when my videos go up. And we'll see you next time.